and welcome to a special section of the Sim Racing Perspectives podcast. I'm here to interview Peter from Denmark from the GTR24hour.org website. Let's begin by introducing how I came across Peter. So one day I received an email from RaceRoom, and the email from RaceRoom was promoting 2 videos of live streams from RaceRoom events at the Nürburgring. The first was the eSports WTCR Oscaro event, and the second being the Nürburgring eSports Team Endurance event. And once I clicked on the videos to look at them, which I did, I noticed from the Nürburgring eSports event some comments from a guy calling himself Man Hobby Channels, and I noticed the comments on the quality of the event, and I thought this was quite interesting, so I reached out and I sent a message to the channel, and who should it be? Only Peter. So what I wanted to do was have a chat with Peter to find out more about the event and Peter's feedback from the event, and the reason being because the esports is a growth industry right now, and I thought, Peter, your comments were quite interesting from the point of view of the events that you guys are arranging yourselves in Denmark and the comparison you received when you, for example, went all the way to Germany to take part in the event.
Let's not, in the beginning, let's not mix those two things up and just focus on the RaceRoom event itself, because I think actually what they did with the WTCR competition was the way that was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like you had, it was set up in a way that they could have like spectators for the real life ADAC 24-hour Nürburgring race come in and join this competition and race it. Little did they know that people like the Fernando Alonso Logitech G2 team was there as well, as along with the Williams F1 sim racing team and other guys like that. I don't believe those guys were there to compete in the endurance event. They did compete in that, but I believe they were all there to compete in the WTCR tournament.
Okay.
So maybe the reason why the rules were the way they were was because they didn't want to do a lot of setup changes and change the rigs and everything from that racing and onto the endurance racing. That might explain why it was the way it was.
Okay.
So I just want to say, like, my comments, they seem really negative and bad, but that's because I'm only outlining the things that didn't really suit an event like that, because the whole thing was set up you get some of the world's best sim racers in to do an event like that in sim racing, and you run with no damage.
And why was that?
I believe it was because the setup was adopted from the WTCR, which wasn't really intended for these top spec sim racers to compete in it. They did, and I don't know if RaceRoom, I don't know if they knew that this would happen.
Yeah.
But for sure, you don't bring in the best sim racers in the world and don't try to make the racing as realistic as possible, because that's the whole point of sim racing, right? It's trying to simulate real racing as closely as possible.
Yes. And if I understood the story correctly, Peter, you had to qualify to attend the event in the first place, wasn't it so?
Yeah. You had to qualify. So I believe three-man teams, and all 3 had to qualify. And I believe the way they calculated that, we never really got told how we qualified. Yeah. But I guess they took the 3 times and kind of calculated the averages, and then took the best, was it 20 something teams, ended up some of the teams not showing up. But yeah.
And in this case, it was hashtag road to green hell event. did you go, were you 2 guys or 3 guys? Because it was a 4-hour event, or how did you actually run it?
Yeah, with a 3-man team.
Yeah.
So we were going to the Nürburgring 24-hour race as spectators anyway. And one evening, about a month prior to the race, they announced this. So it was kind of close to the event.
Yeah.
We didn't have a whole lot of warning before, so we couldn't really practice a lot. And it turns out it was a good thing we didn't. Because once again, the rules were that you had to race the default setups.
Yes.
So to me, it's a little bit weird, but that's sort of acceptable.
Yes.
Because if you want it like a spec class, then okay, let's lock the setups. That's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter as much, but then it was run with AI pit lane control.
Ah.
It was run with AI managed pit stops. So you couldn't even choose how much fuel you wanted to go on the car. You couldn't choose if you want to change tires or not. All this was AI controlled.
Yeah. Which is
So
odd.
all those, those things just don't really harmonize with bringing in some of the best sim racers in the world to do this event.
Yeah. And if I could step back a bit, because when I received this email, now I should clarify that I'm a supporter of RaceRoom. Indeed, I have most of the content and I'm a fan of the game, shall I say. So, and indeed, somebody commented on the channel last week, what's the best approach to RaceRoom? And I advised the guy accordingly, and he went forward, he told me, and he bought the Pro Pack. So you could say I sent him a customer. But I received this marketing email and I started to look at one of the videos, and it was the WTCR event. And I saw a series of guys kind of walking in off the street. They weren't in racing suits. They didn't seem organized. And then I looked at the other video and I saw your comments, and I thought, well, what's going on here? Because this doesn't sound right. This doesn't sound like RaceRoom. Now, if I may step further back, I had remembered that Jimmy Broadbent went to Denmark in October of last year.
Yeah.
And in his video, there was reference to a thanks to a guy called Peter. Was that you?
Yeah, that's me, yeah.
Ah, okay. Because I remember watching Jimmy's vlog, and in the vlog there's a guy called Peter who's sitting at a computer, and he said, "Oh, I'm in Photoshop hell." Was that you? It was.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. The reason why it makes this conversation with you is more interesting because Jimmy went to your event as a commentator. Now, your event was running R Factor 2, am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I assume you had managed pit stops, damage on, and so on.
Yeah, you have to think all of this through.
Yeah.
So at the GTR 24H, which is now being rebranded as the Endurance eRacing World Championship.
Yes.
Yeah. We try to run a simulated real life Le Mans 24-hour race.
Yes.
But if you have people flying in from Brazil with 6 laptops, a race computer, steering wheel, pedals, sim rig, 3 screens,
yes,
and God knows what other equipment to support themselves for an entire weekend of sim racing, and then you run down into the first corner, you get punted off by the guy behind, and your entire weekend is ruined.
Yeah.
See, that's not fun.
No.
But of course, when you get punted by a guy from behind, it has to have repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you create an event where damage is a factor, but you won't ever crash out of the race?
Mm-hmm.
So the way we do it is by allowing, or the way we did it last year, at least, it's going to come with some changes this year. The way we did it last year was to allow people to leave the server, come back and join the server. We would then do the routine of disqualifying them and then undisqualifying them, and then they get a completely new 100% repaired car. You can get back on track and continue the racing. You'll lose something like 1 to 1.5 lap doing that. So Yeah, losing 1.5 lap in a 24-hour race where everybody's racing full-on sprint racing for 24 hours is a pretty big deal. But you're not out of the race. You can still have fun and compete in the racing.
Yeah.
So that's how we solved it. I think that's a lot closer to like. I think it's a lot closer to what it would be racing in real life, except that, of course, in real life you would have crashed out and your car would have been totaled and the weekend is over.
Yeah, exactly. You pack up and go home. And how many nationalities were attending the event in Denmark in October?
Last year was 14 teams from 6 or 7 different countries. That was just mainly European countries.
Yeah. And that's what fascinates me the most. I got the impression, and from looking again at your footage and Jimmy's footage, it seems that your own event in Denmark was on a higher level than the event you intended at the Nürburgring. Am I right?
Production wise, on the streaming side, no.
Yeah.
Because that's what's important to RaceRoom is not the specific sporting content or the kind of the conditions for the competitors. What was important for them was to make a good show out of it, and they did. They for making a good show and making it interesting for people who don't know sim racing or racing in general. They put on a great show. So no complaints there.
Yeah.
It was just the kind of the way it was handled for the competitors was that left a lot to be. Yeah, it could have been a lot better. And that maybe could have made the content for the viewers and spectators even better.
Yeah.
In fact, like one example would be that during the driver's briefing, we were told by the guy organizing this, he said, at one point we thought about putting in tables and giving every team some place to sit so you could set up your laptops and be more engaged with the event.
Yes.
But then I thought about it and then we didn't. So wait a minute, that's not an argument. You didn't reason why you didn't do it. You just
didn't do it. Yeah.
And that was kind of generally the feeling, the way this was run. We were told in emails by management staff that we would have access to wired network, so we would have Cat 5 or Cat 6 cables, like normal internet. We would have power for our laptops. None of that was there. Nothing.
And why not?
We never got any explanation for that. The practice, they had some kind of issue with either one of the computers or the server when they were setting up this event. So we were supposed to have, I think it was 2 hours of practice time. That got cut down to almost 45 minutes. And I don't know, if you arrive at a rig you've never driven before, steering wheel you're not used to. Some of the guys, I was pretty happy with it because we weren't driving load cell pedals. So I'm used to that because I haven't invested in load cell pedals yet.
Yep.
So I was pretty happy with that. But the guys that are used to you driving load cell pedals now, they can't. It's going to take them a while to adjust to using like a normal potentiometer brake instead.
Yeah. And they have the Fanatec setups there. Is it so?
Yeah. It was all, the equipment was all very good.
Yeah.
It was just the screens were, it was single screen rigs, and the screens were, I think it was 25-inch screens or maybe even 22s. It was kind of small. Yeah. But you could live with that.
And that I can understand. Like most events, indeed of course the Gran Turismo event that Jimmy was at the Nürburgring for within the last week, that was, of course, single screen, of course, because it's console, and a single screen setup is something I would expect. But as you said, Peter, there was no damage, there was no pit control. You couldn't even control how much fuel you could add.
Nope.
I wonder why.
It gets even more funny than stranger than that, because all the sim rigs were obviously sim rigs and the Fanatic wheels were set up to be used in the race room, in the race room facility or race room store at the Nürburgring.
Yeah.
So there were no keyboards.
No shortcuts.
No keyboards attached to the computer.
Yeah.
So you only had the buttons
okay.
for control that you had on the wheel. So you could like adjust your seating position forth and back, not up and down.
Okay.
You like in sim racing, when you're racing a single screen, you're gonna definitely want to be racing with the virtual mirror on in cockpit, because otherwise it's just too dangerous. You can't do any close racing with people if you can't have a rear mirror.
And particularly if your field of view is very short. Yes.
Yeah, and everybody who drives sim racing knows this.
Yes.
But it was disabled.
And you couldn't turn it on?
No, because there wasn't a button on the wheel and we didn't have a keyboard.
And were the buttons on the wheel, were they already mapped to at least a single function?
Yeah, that was
okay.
Locked.
But you couldn't turn the mirror on and off?
No.
That's odd. No.
You could move your seat forth and back.
But not up and down?
No. And there was a discussion at one point I heard on Radio Le Mans about like the Nordschleife and Spa being pretty special because the undulating terrain, it's up and down all the time.
Yeah.
So first of all, you have on these types of tracks, you have your front lights adjusted way higher than you would on any other racetrack.
Yes.
Because you need to be able to look up the hills.
Yes.
When you go down into a valley and you need to look ahead of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And again, you also in the race car, you normally lift the seat up as high as possible because you want to see when you come over a crest, you want to be able to look out across the crest and down and see if somebody's parked there or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just sit higher in the car than any other. And of course, you want to do that in the simulation too, for all the same reasons. You want to sit a little bit higher so you have a better overview. It's not normally necessary for flatter race tracks or like the normal Herman Tilke racing stadiums, I'd call them instead. Yeah. It's not really, not needed. No. But at the Nordschleife, it really, really is.
Definitely, yeah.
So the way we had to solve it was to move the seat. Like we could either choose to race with the hood view instead.
Yes.
None of us do that because we want to race real sim racing. So we want to race in the cockpit position. Yep. That's just the way we're used to. But we could have done that, and then we would have had the virtual mirror and all that. But to me, running a hood view, I'm suddenly 1.5 meters ahead of my normal viewpoint, and it somehow affects the way that you're able to feel when the car's sliding. The visual thing of that is just different when you're sitting in the hood view. So a car sliding, or if you're really, really, really on the edge, the car feels a lot different driving from hood view than from cockpit view.
And you were driving the Porsche 911 GT3R.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're in the hood view, you don't see the Motex screen.
No, you don't do. No, and then you have to use the thing down in the corner, and then
whatever HUD elements are available.
And it was a small screen, so it wasn't that bad. You could easily see what gear you were in, but if you kind of forgot or weren't really paying 100% attention, you just sometimes you glance down to make sure what gear you're in, right?
Yeah.
So that would be a little bit more difficult than it was if you were sitting properly in the cockpit.
Yeah.
There was just like all these things. So we had to move the seating position all the way forward to a point where the rear view mirror in car wasn't visible anymore. So we had to kind of make that choice. Do we want to have a rear view mirror in car, or do we want to be able to drive the car properly without crashing?
Yeah.
So we went for going with the not crashing.
You went with a trade-off.
Yeah. And then luckily they had the hat switch on the steering wheel. You could use that to look back and look left and right. So but that's great on a normal track where it's kind of you have small straights, look back on those cornering section, small straights. You can look back again. cornering section, small straight, look back again,
Yeah.
But on the Nordschleife, when's there ever a short straight that's not a turning section of some kind?
No, there
where
isn't.
you're able
No.
to click that button back and look behind you or look beside you if a guy is trying to overtake you. Well,
and have access to both the virtual mirror and the rear view mirror, and basically be able to set up, because each of us in every sim, in every car, indeed, we set it up differently, because the position, depending on the seat type and the position of the seat and so on. That's interesting.
That's where we come back to the way that we're used to doing our LAN events, where, like, even if you rent a computer, the team competing is responsible for setting up that computer to do the race. So they can set it up any way they want.
Yeah.
Button configurations, everything.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
That puts a lot of responsibility on us to check that people aren't cheating.
Yeah,
but then again,
true.
If you come as a professional sim racing team and cheat at an event like this, your career is pretty much over, because no one is going to want to race you again online. Ever.
Yeah. No, that's true.
So we haven't seen that as an issue at all. We haven't even had complaints about people cheating. So, and I guess that's what was in the heads of the RaceRoom people, because all they could have done was just find like 20 cheap USB keyboards and plug those in and said, go ahead. And maybe that was also have fixed the problem with the reason why the practice session was postponed that long, because they had, was it 22 teams with 3 drivers on each, so more than 100 accomplished sim racers that they have driven this sim before. They know how to set it up. They know how to make it work.
Yes.
They didn't ask us to help. Instead, they went ahead and their officials, one guy at a time with a USB keyboard or Bluetooth keyboard or something, went around to each sim rig and using something like 5, 6, 7 minutes to set that up before it was ready to race. And that also just seemed so odd.
Yeah. And there's a standard PC behind each rig, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, this seems very odd, yeah. And like I said, no disrespect to the guys at the Nürburgring and no disrespect to RaceRoom and Sector 3 and everyone who's working there, but I just find it fascinating that there's the mix of and if I understood correctly, the WTCR event had a Audi RS3 LMS. I didn't find that car in the game. I guess it's a special.
For sure, the version of RaceRoom that they run at the RaceRoom store thing.
Yeah, the cafe,
Yeah, it's different from the version of RaceRoom that you download on Steam and drive. It's not the same.
Okay. So
they have some kind of like developer issue version or something like that. It's not the same. It's different somehow.
Yeah.
But how would that affect if they just gave people a keyboard? Because all the menus were obviously the same, because we saw the menus, so it wasn't different to what you'd find on your PC at home. So setting up all the controls, like if you wanted. Yeah.
So the menus were there, because in the RaceRoom you have because I looked at it this morning, because you have the FOV. The field of view setup is weird. You got 0.5 to plus 1.3. And then you've got the control profiles, and you can, for example, on a standard wheel D-pad, you can set it so that you can move your seat up, down, left, and right. So all those controls are there.
Yeah.
Oh, so because I thought maybe you were hinting at some kind of specific build, but the controls are there, but yet they don't allow you to use them. That's odd. Not even the rear view mirror. That's odd.
Exactly. Even though that would definitely, I don't know if you can talk about danger or risk in sim racing, because there's no risk of bodily harm unless you're running something like an OSW wheel with the force feedback turned up 100% and you break your thumbs. That's about the level of physical harm that can happen to you. But still, it would like that racing without a rear view mirror and not allowing people to put that virtual mirror on. yeah, that's
and adjust the vertical position of your virtual seat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not only harming us, it's putting everybody racing around us, putting their entire experience of this race at a risk.
Yeah, and I think it was suggested in the comments on that video where you had written long comments, Peter, and I read every word. Could it be so that they're just worrying that if they have certain features on that people won't finish? Now the WTCR event was 3 events. I think it was Zandvoort, Hungaroring, and then the Nürburgring. So, and it was for some cases people walking in and off the street. But the road to Green Hell, that was a completely different level. Everybody there had to qualify. They already owned the game. They most likely they own the car they're going to drive. They already own the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and they know the title. So I wonder, like, I could understand the need for them to have a clean race to stream and to have it everybody finishing. But surely if you're on a higher level, there's a way that you could work around. Okay, like you said with your own event, if somebody crashes, then okay, well, you have to restart and you're back at your pits, and then you might lose some time.
I don't think you could do that in RaceRoom. Does RaceRoom have a rejoin function if you lose connection?
Good question. But as you said, if it's a developer version they're using for competitions, they could. Yeah, they could have
for sure. They could I'm a programmer myself.
Yeah.
With like 15 years of experience programming everything from C# to VB scripts and PHP and websites, programs, apps, all the stuff. I'm guessing it would have taken a programmer 3 hours to put in a function to hit a button and repair somebody's car.
Yes.
Like, for God's sakes, it's not that hard. So, but it wasn't thought out.
No.
That's the entire feeling that I'm getting. What they thought out was the whole production crew that went there to produce the live stream. And that was what made it look professional. Because if they didn't have a professional production crew to make the live stream with the professional commenter and people being interviewed, this would have, like, deduct that from the entire experience, and all you would have was just a very, very amateurish feel of an event.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I could see it from watching the video. And Daniel Jungadea himself was there, wasn't he? He was competing at some point, and he's driving for Mercedes, who are, of course, leaving DTM this year.
It's funny how some of these really high-profile sim racing teams that are used to racing, like iRacing and rFactor 2 or Assetto Corsa at the highest top level, where they have damage, where they have total control of pit stops, where strategy and tire management, everything, all of that is a factor. Why did none of them comment or complain about the way this event was run?
That's what I was going to ask you. Had some of the teams been at a similar event before? Or did they know the score, if you will?
I believe the only big event of this caliber has been the one with the Formula E, the one in Vegas.
Is it so?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I wouldn't compare our previous years with the GTR 24H to that at all. I can easily do it for 2018 because we are going to have some viewer numbers that is going to blow all of eSports away. It's going to be so crazy.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember now. Sorry, Peter. I'm trying to remember. Was it so that last year at the same event, the same location, it was sponsored by Mercedes. It was part of DTM. They had a DTM event and some of the DTM drivers were there. But I don't recall if it was team based or whether it was just people walking in off the street.
I think that was also just people walking in off the street, and I don't even remember that event being there. I think what you're talking about was not at the 24-hour race. That was at the DTM race. At
yes, Nürburgring. It was.
Yeah. But
on the same level. Yeah. So this technically would have been one of their biggest events to date then. I thought this was a regular thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It would have been.
Yeah.
But then again, like, for the teams race, the endurance race, no prizes. That was just a couple of trophies.
Yeah.
That's it.
What
for
was
the WTCR,
yeah.
It was 25,000 euros.
That's right. Yeah, I noticed. I tried to find a reference to the prizes for the, as they call it, hashtag Road to Green Hell. So what were the prizes?
The trophies.
But the other one was money.
Yeah.
Whereas the Road to Green Hell was actually organised teams who competed online to get there in the first place. Whereas for the WTCR, you could walk in off the street.
Yes.
And win a share of 25,000 euros.
Yes.
Why is that? An open question.
I guess you are as a good old English term is flabbergasted. I'm really like.
I'm as confused as you, and you were there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was more so about given the atmosphere, the presentation, and the commentators, and the interview with some of the drivers, and then the interview with Daniel Juncadea, and then the presentation at the end. And it was all about the presentation, but not the substance.
Yes.
And
yes,
as you said, for most of us remember the Visa Vegas, basically that was a joke. So, I mean, it was...
Well, again, the presentation of that race was 100% top notch.
Yeah.
Proper commentators, proper camera angles. Everything was done like professional sporting event.
Yeah.
But they had a brand new mod, hadn't been tested properly.
No.
Brand new track.
Yeah.
That hadn't been tested properly.
Yeah. It looked like a PlayStation 2 game, I remember.
Yeah, why not get those two, like the tracks and the cars?
Yeah.
Since when we build up our event, and all of this was planned, like we started 10 years ago, and it's always been a dream for us to create this event, and we want to go full-time working on creating this event and doing this for people, and we want to do more races all over the world. So that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
We started 10 years ago, and we agreed, everyone, we have to start with the basis. What is the basis of this? The basis is giving the drivers and teams an absolutely fabulous experience. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many viewers or where it's streamed or how much attention is on it. We didn't even care back then. We just wanted to make the best event for sim racers.
Yeah.
How can we make the best 24-hour LAN event for sim racers?
Yes.
That took us 8 years to create and polish that concept to a level that we dared invite Jimmy Broadbent and all the attention that he brings on whatever he does.
Yeah.
Because, like, if he was at the level he's at now on YouTube stuff, I don't think we would have dared to bring him in last year.
No, actually.
Really. That would have brought too much attention still.
And Peter, now that you mention it, it's funny because I read your comments about the event, and then I went back to look at Jimmy's video and your videos of the event in Denmark last October, and I could really see the differences, in level between what was organized from a marketing business point of view at the Nürburgring and what you guys were doing. And then Jimmy is now 90,000 subscribers or so. Jimmy was there at the Nürburgring, and he was working on the Gran Turismo event. And at one point, Jimmy, as part of his vlog, went to the race room. He stood at the door of the arena, and he whispered, "Oh, us plebs are not allowed in there, you know." And I was thinking, hang on a minute, this doesn't make sense, because Jimmy was with you guys. You guys were running R Factor 2 on the full level as it should be. And then Jimmy's actually at the Nürburgring, and he's working on a console title. He's commentator for a console title. And then he goes and he stands at the door of the arena, and he goes, "Well, well, we're not allowed in there, you know, when I know from your feedback from the event that it's not like that at all, you know. It's kind of the flash is there, the presentation is there, but you as teams, as professional esports teams, if you will, you were kind of treated like plebs. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. It
Even
really
you
does.
said, well, the guy said, well, I was going to give you guys tables with Wi-Fi and power for your laptops, and then I just decided I wasn't going to do it. I mean, why would you even say that?
Maybe if you kind of had a dream of creating a once in a lifetime event where people wouldn't ever want to come back. That is really like, I'm speaking on mail now to one of the guys down there. They want to field a team and come and experience the DTR 24H. But honestly, he wrote to me, he didn't believe that our concept was so much better than theirs. And like, I don't want to be rude or anything to a guy, but listen, we've not, at least I have not done this for fun for the past 10 years.
No,
I've had a goal in mind all the time. So is everyone that's been involved with this. Yeah. So like, what would, and even for the commentator to sit at that event and saying that this kind of LAN event was the first of its kind. It was one of a kind, and it was all brand new. And we've been doing this for 10 years. We've been doing this for 10 years with teams showing up from the most of Europe.
Yes.
So, I mean, how, if I was a newspaper manager, I would have fired a journalist that did that kind of that poor of a job on research.
Yeah. Knowing what was actually going on and the work that it took for you guys to get to the event in October that you had organized. And as you said, you took the chance to invite Jimmy Broadbent to come, and Jimmy went, and obviously he was impressed. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Well, we knew already that, like, 2013 was our last year with GTR2 as a sim. And back then we had 22 teams, and David Greco was nice enough to show up with a team. I think he drove with Morgan Meringue, and they were actually only those two guys on the car for the entire 24 hours, and they just pulverized everybody. Pretty impressive. Like, Greco and Morgan are for sure some of the world's fastest sim racers.
Yes.
And he was impressed with the event already back then and said, this is going to get very, very big. So he right from the get-go, he believed in us.
Yeah.
And when guys that are working professionally in the business, both in development and driving, when they say stuff like that, you know, it's you've got something.
You know that you're on to something. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And begs the question, from the point of view of KW Auto Parts, I mean, RaceRoom, you have the parent company, and Sector 3 doing the development work in Sweden. What is their goal? Are they looking to sell copies of RaceRoom? Or, I mean, who are they? I mean, I get an email. I'm already a paid customer, so they already have me, so to speak. But with this kind of, I mean, I noticed from the opening of the WTCR Oscaro event. What's this Oscaro, by the way?
No idea. I had no idea.
And they started off with the camera, and there was just guys walking in. Their heads were hanging low. It was like like an episode of The Simpsons, you know. And these guys, and I literally expected guys in matched t-shirts, you know, or jumpsuits. One guy even had his leg in a cast. He had broken his leg, and no disrespect, but. And then there was a wide shot of the arena, and 70% of the rigs were empty. I just wasn't impressed. And then when I saw your comments on the other event, which should have been, I assume, the main event with the WTCR event taking second stage, but I gather it was the other way around.
It was for sure the other way around.
Yeah.
Like this fall race was something they saw a hole in their plan.
Yeah.
So, we've got room to notch in 6 or 7 hours of something else here. Let's figure out what to do.
And the events were on the same weekend of May the 11th. Yeah.
So we were pushed in between the qualifying runs for the WTCR tournament. Yeah. And that's why I'm so sure, like having the rules and everything set up, like AI pit stops, no damage and all that, for people that were going to qualify for the WTCR tournament, people coming in off the street, never been in the same rig before, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That's what I would do too if I had to run an event like that.
Yeah.
But if I bring in the world's best sim racers, they're already qualified online, like you said. It just doesn't.
And they're qualified at home with their own equipment, their own rigs. They already own the game.
Yeah.
They have full control of the game that they own.
Yes. It makes no sense.
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Yeah. So what is their goal? I mean, are they promoting the Nürburgring? Are they hoping to sell? I mean, the guys walking in off the street who've never played sim racing before, they're not going to be buying copies of RaceRoom. So who is the event for then?
I have no idea. I can't figure it out.
No.
It wasn't in any of the official Nürburgring like marketing videos or marketing material prior to the event. It wasn't listed on the Nürburgring website. So if you had the tickets for the 24-hour race or went to buy those tickets, you wouldn't encounter this event anywhere in the marketing around this. So of course, both the WTCR and the endurance race, all the spectator seats it was basically only the drivers in the race that were there.
Yeah.
No one else was there.
Yeah. Whereas I gather the event that Jimmy Broadbent just attended on behalf of Sony, that was probably well marketed, I would expect.
Yeah, but they did something else. They put that up in the in kind of the convention area.
Yeah. It
so
was more visible.
That was right behind the main grandstands. So they had something like 200,000 people coming through that area that saw the PlayStation competition were there. The Nürburgring arena is an enclosed arena. There's 2 doors open into the arena. Yeah. But you had to come inside the doors. You had to, you got the impression, like Jimmy said, because you had to walk through some kind of ticket counter or something to get into the arena. You got the event when you came in that this was a closed event. This was not for the public.
No. That's what Jimmy said. I laughed. He said, this is not for the plebs.
That was the impression you got if you came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I better not go in there because some security guy is going to tell me to go away. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely fascinated. I'd like to get a response from, from RaceRoom on this. For example, Georg Ortner or somebody. Like, what is going on here? Because it seems
so would I. I haven't even in my mail correspondence with them after I put up my comments. No official, that's the reason why we did it, because I don't even think they know themselves why they did the event this way.
No.
It was maybe just to them, it was just the obvious way of doing it. It was the obvious and it was the most obvious and the most easy way for them to do this.
And to link it to the event that was going on there, because the 24 hours of Nürburgring was happening at the same time. So
that was good for us. All we wanted was the free parking and the free camping tickets that came with participating in the event.
Yes,
that was all we wanted. That was the only reason why we competed. Anyway,
I noted that you got your. You mentioned.
Yeah, we saw if you do this, you get free camping and free parking, and we thought, hell yeah, we're down there anyway. let's do it. Let's have the free park, free camping.
Hell yeah, and no pun intended. Road to Green Hell.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and we thought we have our own 24-hour event. Let's go down and see how some professionals handle this. Like maybe we could get inspired or learn something from it, but it turns out it's very much perhaps the other way around.
Yeah. And as you said, you got to go there and you got your free camping, but you must have been terribly disappointed. Yeah.
No, we had a great weekend. Yeah. It's just the rate. That was just 4 hours. It was
slightly a 4-hour
wasted.
Event. Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. It feels like a kind of a icing on the cake, because it's just a thing that they did, but they're not focusing too heavy on it. Although they have the arena there and they have the equipment. So
they could make it so awesome. Like we are definitely going to talk to them about at some point in the future moving the Endurance eRacing World Championship down there.
Yeah.
That is going to be negotiated. Whether it happens or not, I have no idea. We are going to suggest it. And anyway, also, some guy in the comments on that video on the Nürburgring suggested that I was commenting badly about their event just to promote our own event.
Not true.
I would have used the GTR 24H channel to comment if I wanted to promote our own event.
Yeah.
I didn't. I wanted to contact and get the people from RaceRoom to listen to what I had to say about their event.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you guys qualified, you already own the game, you're already invested in the product, you've gone there to compete, and there wasn't even proper, you got trophies, but there wasn't cash money prizes, whereas there was.
And we wouldn't have been anywhere near winning anything anyway, no matter what the rules were.
But that's not the point.
We're not that good sim racing. We're not that good at sim racing. And anyway, listen, with all the talk about me promoting our own event again, just want to say we have, I think it's 4 or 5 places for cars or teams left out of a 40-car grid.
Yeah.
So we're almost sold out.
Yeah.
I suspect I don't have to do anything when we have the right partner agreements and we can announce that there's 160,000 euros at stake here. The rest is going to get sold like nothing. I won't even have to do that. We have a massive deal with Motorsport Network, who's going to promote the event and send out our live stream and everything to something like 250 million people. So all of that commenting on a, excuse me, but so we say lightly viewed YouTube video makes no sense.
Less than 10,000 views. I saw that. Yeah. But you still took the time to do it. Yeah.
It was an experience.
Yeah. So, Peter, moving on, when is your event happening then? Your next big?
That's the last weekend of October.
Okay.
So that's starting at Thursday, the 25th. Yep. Teams are gonna come set up their rigs and move in their equipment. We are working on some deals with being able to rent rigs at the event also. So all that's still going on.
Okay.
Practice Thursday night, qualifying Friday afternoon. VIP party with all different partners and drivers from the teams and everything.
Wow.
Happening Friday night, and then the race is Saturday, Sunday.
So basically the end of October 2017 and now the end of October 2018.
Yeah, it's always the last weekend of October.
Yeah. And where in Denmark are you guys located?
It's located on the west coast of Funen in a little town called Strib.
Okay.
Right next to a town like everybody that speaks English is going to laugh, but it's called Middelfart.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with farting, by the way.
It's just it's a language thing.
Yeah, it's like it would be like the middle of a trip.
Yeah. We went to Lego with the kids a few years ago, and I spent some time around Billund, and I loved it actually. Yeah. Want to go back sometime.
That's not far from Billund to the arena where we're doing the event.
So not too far.
No.
So Peter, you want to? Where should people go then to find out more about the event? So I can add some links below in the description.
Yeah, the webpage, gtr24h.org.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the main tie of the event.
Yeah.
We publish most of our news, and like if something's happening or something, it's just easier to follow on Facebook. So we've got a Facebook page.
Facebook page, yeah.
/ gtr24h.
Yeah.
And then if you're a driver and you want to get involved, we have free practice sessions every Friday night. All you have to do right now is own a copy of R-Factor 2 and the URD, PX, and EGT mods. You need to send your receipt for those to the PM those to the Facebook page.
Yes.
Because we need to have confirmation that you have the mod, because we have all this auto download enabled so that you get the tracks and the proper cars and everything when you join the server. So
and URD, that's payware content. Yes.
Yeah. So just send the receipt for the URD mods, and then you get the password for the server in return, and you can join. And you don't have to have any plans on competing for October, just if you want to have fun with the guys and try and try the track and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Every Friday is live streamed. Come around and visit the different Teamspeak channels on our Teamspeak server. Find that address on the website as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Then there's the GTR24H community Facebook group, where all the questions and everything from drivers or people that are like more into the stuff, like they come and ask questions and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole community part of it. That's the community group. And I guess that's about it.
Yep. So basically, whether you're competing online or planning to actually attend the event, you'll be able to fully adjust the position of your seat, and also use
because you'll either bring your own PC with your own install and everything, or we will set up possibilities for you to rent a PC, but managing what's on that PC is your responsibility.
Up to you.
Yeah.
And just like a real team attending an event, they'll be in the paddock, setting up the drivers, setting up the car. You're doing exactly the same thing, which of course you weren't allowed to do during the Road to Green Hell at the Nürburgring.
No, and can I say, if you race a 3-man team, it's not just a question of the fastest driver doing a lot of practice and making a perfect setup, because that's likely not going to fit everyone on the team.
No.
So these endurance races for sim racing too, as well as in real racing, is all about compromise between the different drivers on the car. Yeah. So like, no way is it going to be enough to practice just like you would do to a normal race, maybe 15, 20 hours or something during a couple of weeks if you're really dedicated. That's not going to be enough. You need way more than that. Because you maybe need to get used to a car that doesn't really drive perfect for you. But it's just part of sharing things. And of course, again, like in the real world, you're going to have to share the same racing wheel and share the same seat and share the same pedal position. So if you got a really short driver, you need to figure out how to move your pedals closer and how to move the wheels for the, you got it's a lot more complicated than just sitting at home in front of your sim rig.
That's true. Yeah. And it's a combined effort, and time is of the essence. You need to be able to pit quickly, change drivers quickly, and of course R-Factor 2 supports that. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, Peter, thank you very much. Thank you for joining.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks again.